Hey everyone, it's Chad Pavel, the Entrepreneur's CPA. Visit us at pinewoodct.com. Today I'd like to talk about something very interesting. Should you raise venture capital or angel investment, or should you wait and bootstrap? So here are 5 entrepreneurs who waited to raise venture capital until they had significant revenue, like tens of millions of dollars. So let's just jump right into our slide deck. So first question is, do you really need capital? Do you need outside investor capital, or can you get through by growth hacking, by raising money from maybe some friends and family, by using credit cards or personal savings to get your business up and running? That will give you a lot more flexibility, a lot more value. You're going to learn how to growth hack, as we call it. Learn how to gain momentum for free or with your own doing, with your own 2 feet, your phone, your email, just hacking the growth, as many startups call it. And of course, if you build a great product or service, you don't need to necessarily hack your way into substantial revenue, but it definitely helps to learn how to be resourceful and scrappy. And so that right there will definitely help you as you go to grow your business even more, and it'll make it more attractive when you go to raise venture capital. So 5 companies here. We've got SurveyMonkey, Grasshopper, GitHub, Dado, and Wayfair as companies we're going to talk about right now. So let's jump in. So SurveyMonkey, great company. You've probably heard of them. I'm sure someone in your workplace or a friend has sent you out a survey before a party, before an event at work. SurveyMonkey has been around for a number of years. They got through the dot-com bubble burst in the late 90s when they were really growing the company. They actually started it in 1999, and they took venture capital 10 years later, and it was an undisclosed amount of venture capital. They then took $100 million in debt financing, and $400 million plus from a big venture capital firm. They took a couple $100 million more over the next couple of years, and they're still running the company as far as everybody knows. Next is Grasshopper. Now, Grasshopper is a phone system. It's a cloud-based telephone system. We use it. We love it. They apparently didn't raise any outside venture capital or angel investment, according to public records, and they sold the company 13 years later for $161.5 million after founding it. So an example of a company who was able to use private sources, friends and family, maybe a small angel round that they just didn't disclose, but as far as everybody sees, they did not raise institutional venture capital. So next is GitHub. Now, if you're a developer, a software developer, you've definitely heard of and probably used GitHub. Tens of millions of coders are building projects all around the world using GitHub's version control system. They've got over 700 employees. They ran the company for 4 or 5 years from 2008 onwards until they took $100 million in venture capital from Andreessen Horowitz, and then another $250 million from Sequoia Capital. So these guys had the cream of the crop venture capitalists calling on them. And finally, when they were able to raise the money, or when they were willing to raise the money, they needed it to pour fuel on the fire. Now, next is a company I used to work for. It's called Dado, Datto.com, data backup cybersecurity company, and they are growing like a weed still. The funny story is, if you go and search for Austin McCord, the CEO, you'll see that he received an offer to sell the company for $100 million. And he didn't take any venture capital, no outside capital from public sources. You can see here that after 6 or 7 years and a $100 million offer, he turned it down, and then he raised $25 million from a top venture capital firm, General Catalyst. A couple years later, raised an additional $75 million from TCV, and then sold the company for well over $1 billion just a couple months ago at the end of 2017. So we'll call this a bootstrapped offer and $1 billion exit after taking a little bit of venture capital. And so finally is Wayfair. You've definitely heard of Wayfair.com. If you want to buy any sort of home goods, whether they're quirky, whether they're traditional, you can find them on Wayfair.com. It was actually founded not by designers, not by home decorators or real estate guys, but a couple of coders who built over 200 e-commerce websites with different domains. And then they eventually saw a bunch of data. They were building very niche sites. The data was telling them which products were selling very well, and eventually they consolidated it all into Wayfair.com. And about 10 years they were running the business, probably put some of their own personal money into it. I know their story is out there in the public. They raised $165 million as a Series A, a small venture round a couple of years later, and then right before their IPO, $150 million from T. Rowe Price. They took the company public at a $2.4 billion valuation, and now today it's worth over $7 billion. So There you have it, folks. That is 5 companies who waited to raise venture capital till they either got an acquisition offer and then they raised capital, and some of them just went straight for an exit, and a couple more took the venture capital route and then IPO'd. So if you're thinking about it and you can get your business started, if you can get more sales, if you can just get one more customer, if you can scrap it out, grind it out, I always recommend to people, get one more customer. Do not let the lack of outside capital stop you from getting new clients, from building your business and building the culture that you need today. Pick up the phone, get on the email, get on Facebook, get on LinkedIn, start contacting potential customers. I guarantee you can grow a business today, even if you do it manually or as a service before taking venture capital to turn it into like a software product or a highly scalable product or service. That's what I got for you today, guys. Hope this helps. Again, Chad Pavel. If you like this video, subscribe, please, to our YouTube channel, and check us out at pinewoodct.com if you haven't yet. Happy selling. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.